Have you ever wondered why February has only 28 days? Why some months have 30 days while others have 31? Why our week begins with Monday instead of Sunday? And why certain cultures viewed the number 13 with reverence rather than superstition? The answers to these questions reveal a hidden truth about power, consciousness, and our disconnection from natural. This isn't speculation or conspiracy theory. It's documented history, preserved in ancient texts and artifacts with evidence hiding in plain sight for those willing to look. This story begins not with me, but with Professor James Harrington. In 2018, while cataloging a private collection of religious artifacts in Boston, the biblical historian discovered something that would upend his understanding of time itself. Among dusty relics and forgotten manuscripts lay a Bible from 1775, unremarkable at first glance, until he opened to its calendar section. I nearly dropped it when I realized what I was looking at, Harrington told me during our first interview. The calendar showed March as the first month of the year, Sunday as the first day of the week, and most incredible of all, a perfect 13-month system that had been deliberately hidden from public knowledge. That discovery led Harrington on a 5-year investigation spanning 3 continents, 12 archives, and countless sleepless nights. What began as academic curiosity transformed into an urgent quest to understand how humanity's relationship with time had been fundamentally altered, and by whom. This isn't just about dates on a page, he explained. It's about who controls the rhythm of human existence. When you change how people understand time, you change how they live, work, worship, and think. I first learned of Harrington's work through a footnote in an academic journal, a tiny breadcrumb that led me to his door. What he shared and the evidence he presented forces us to question something so fundamental we rarely think to examine it, the very way we measure our days. The 1775 Bible that sparked Harrington's investigation wasn't an anomaly or printing error. It was a surviving witness to how time was once understood throughout the Western world. Its calendar pages revealed several shocking truths. 1. The year began with March, not January, aligning the new year with spring equinox and natural renewal. 2. Each week began with Sunday, the Lord's Day, rather than Monday. 3. Most significantly, it outlined a 13-month calendar structure, with each month containing exactly 28 days. But this wasn't the only evidence. As Harrington expanded his research, similar patterns emerged in other historical Bibles and religious texts. The King James Bible of 1611 contains subtle references to this original calendar system, Harrington explained. Certain feast days and religious observations make mathematical sense only when mapped to a 13-month calendar. Biblical scholars have long puzzled over specific timing references in Scripture. For instance, Revelation 11 verse 2-3 mentions both 42 months and 1,260 days. In our current calendar, 42 months would equal roughly 1,278 days. But in a 13-month calendar with 28-day months, 42 months equals exactly 1,260 days. Mathematical perfection. Throughout the Old Testament, time references frequently align with lunar cycles, the basis for the 13-month system. The Hebrew word chodesh, appearing over 200 times in the Old Testament, literally means new moon and is translated as month, revealing the lunar foundation of biblical timekeeping. What we're seeing, Harrington concluded, is evidence that biblical time, the way people in biblical eras actually experienced and measured their days, was fundamentally different from how we organize time today. This revelation raises a profound question. If the Bible itself preserves evidence of a different calendar system, how and why did we abandon it? The transformation of human timekeeping didn't happen overnight. It occurred in distinct stages, each driven by leaders seeking to consolidate power and reshape society. The first major shift came under Julius Caesar in 45 BCE. The Julian calendar, created to strengthen imperial administration, replaced the traditional Roman lunar calendar with a solar-based 12-month system. This calendar deliberately broke from earlier traditions that aligned more closely with natural cycles. Caesar's calendar reform wasn't just administrative, explained Dr. Eleanor Winters, a historian at Columbia University specializing in ancient timekeeping. It represented a philosophical shift from cyclical time to linear time, from nature's rhythm to imperial control. The Caesarian calendar established January 1st as the beginning of the year, moving away from the spring equinox, start that had previously connected the new year with natural renewal. This wasn't accidental. January was named for Janus, the two-faced god who looked to both past and future, symbolizing Rome's ambition to control both history and destiny. The second pivotal moment came with Emperor Constantine's conversion to Christianity. In the 4th century CE, Constantine deliberately merged pagan solar worship with Christian practice by establishing Sunday as the primary day of worship, shifting from the traditional Saturday Sabbath observed in Jewish tradition. Constantine's Sunday decree fundamentally restructured the week, noted Rabbi Daniel Goldstein, an expert in ancient Hebrew calendars. It broke from thousands of years of tradition, where the seventh day, Saturday, was considered sacred. This was explicitly political, using time itself to create a new religious identity separate from Judaism. The final transformation came with Pope Gregory XIII's calendar reform in 1582. The Gregorian calendar we use today formalized the irregular month lengths, eliminated any remaining connections to the 13-month system, and created the awkward leap, a mechanism we still use. This historical pattern reveals something crucial. Each major calendar change coincided with a significant power consolidation. Those who controlled time controlled society. It's the ultimate form of power, Harrington emphasized. When you control the calendar, you control when people work, when they rest, when they celebrate, and when they worship. You literally shape the rhythm of human life. Perhaps the most striking aspect of this calendar transformation was the systematic elimination of the number 13 from our timekeeping. Once considered sacred across numerous cultures, the number 13 became stigmatized as unlucky and dangerous, a superstition that persists today. But why would the number 13 be so threatening? The answer lies in what it represents. 13 perfectly reflects natural cycles. Women typically experience 13 menstrual cycles per year. The moon cycles through 13 phases in a solar year. Ancient observatories from Stonehenge to Chichen Itza were designed to track these 13 lunar months. The number 13 represents perfect natural harmony, explained Dr. Maya Chen, an archaeoastronomer who studied ancient calendar systems worldwide. It creates a bridge between solar and lunar time, between cosmic cycles and human biology. This natural harmony was reflected in many pre-Christian spiritual traditions, where 13 was associated with feminine divine energy, natural wisdom, and cosmic balance. The goddess calendar of ancient cultures often emphasized 13 as sacred. When patriarchal power structures sought to establish control, Dr. Chen continued, they systematically demonized symbols associated with feminine wisdom traditions. The number 13 was perhaps the most significant casualty of this process. The transformation was remarkably effective. Today, many buildings still skip the 13th floor. Friday the 13th is considered unlucky. 13 guests at a table is supposedly unfortunate. This superstition isn't random. It's the remnant of a deliberate campaign to disrupt humanity's connection with natural cycles. By making 13 unlucky, power structures effectively erased the most mathematically perfect calendar system from collective memory, Harrington noted. It's perhaps the most successful propaganda campaign in human history. To understand the elegance of the 13-month calendar requires appreciating its mathematical perfection. Unlike our current irregular system, the 13-month calendar creates perfect symmetry. 13 months times 28 days equal 364 days, with one special day out of time completing the 365-day solar year. Each month contains exactly 4 weeks. Each quarter contains exactly 91 days. The same date always falls on the same day of the week, every month, every year. It's the most logical calendar system possible, explained Dr. Maria Suarez, a mathematician who studies calendar systems. Our current calendar, with its irregular months and shifting weekdays, is mathematically chaotic by comparison. This mathematical perfection wasn't accidental. It reflected ancient understanding of cosmic rhythms. The lunar cycle is approximately 29.5 days from new moon to new moon, with 13 such cycles in a solar year. The human gestation period is approximately 13 lunar months. Many biological cycles, from reproduction to hibernation, follow patterns aligned with 13 lunar months. Ancient monuments worldwide reveal knowledge of these mathematical relationships. Stonehenge's design incorporates 13 lunar alignments. The Great Pyramid's proportions encode the relationship between 13 lunar months and the solar year. Indigenous calendar stones from the Americas to Polynesia frequently feature 13 divisions. When we examine ancient astronomical sites globally, Dr. Suarez noted, we find consistent evidence that ancient peoples understood the 13-to-1 relationship between lunar and solar cycles. This wasn't primitive superstition, it was sophisticated mathematical knowledge. This cosmic mathematics didn't just measure time, it synchronized human activity with natural rhythms. Agricultural planting followed lunar phases. Festivals aligned with solstices and equinoxes. Religious observances corresponded to cosmic events rather than arbitrary dates. The 13-month calendar wasn't just a counting system, Harrington emphasized. It was a technology for harmonizing human life with cosmic order. The shift from natural time to artificial time created a profound spiritual disruption that continues to affect humanity today. In most ancient traditions, time wasn't merely a measuring tool, it was sacred. The cycles of moon, sun, and stars were understood as divine communication, revealing the Creator's order. Following these natural rhythms wasn't just practical, it was an act of spiritual alignment. When we abandoned natural time, explained Reverend Dr. Thomas Jenkins, a theologian specializing in sacred time concepts, we severed an ancient connection between human spiritual practice and cosmic rhythm. The consequences have been profound. Consider how this affected religious practice. Biblical feast days were originally timed to lunar cycles and harvest seasons, connecting worship with natural abundance. Under artificial calendars, these observances became fixed dates, disconnected from the natural events they once commemorated. The biblical Passover, for instance, was meant to align with both the full moon and spring renewal, noted Rabbi Goldstein. Under our current calendar, these connections are obscured, diminishing the symbolic power of the observance. This spiritual disconnection extends beyond formal religion. Many people report feeling a vague but persistent sense of being out of sync, a spiritual alienation from natural cycles. Studies show that modern humans have become increasingly unable to identify moon phases, seasonal patterns, or celestial movements, knowledge that was once universal. There's a form of spiritual amnesia that comes from living by artificial time, suggested Dr. Lisa Running-Deer, an indigenous knowledge researcher. When you can't feel the moon's rhythm or sense the seasons turning, something ancient in your spirit goes to sleep. Perhaps most significantly, this disconnection has altered how humanity relates to the divine feminine. Many ancient spiritual traditions honored feminine aspects of divinity through lunar celebrations and 13-month observances. The suppression of these calendrical systems coincided with the marginalization of feminine spiritual traditions. It's no coincidence that calendar reforms eliminating the 13-month system occurred alongside witch hunts and the suppression of goddess worship, noted Dr. Running-Deer. Controlling time was part of controlling feminine spiritual power. The 1775 Bible's preservation of the original calendar system suggests that even as official doctrine changed, some religious communities maintained awareness of sacred time. These communities recognized that aligning with cosmic rhythms wasn't paganism, it was honoring the divine order as revealed through creation itself. Our disconnection from natural time isn't just spiritually consequential, it has measurable effects on physical and mental health. Multiple studies have demonstrated correlations between lunar phases and human biology, explained Dr. Rebecca Chen, a neuroscientist studying chronobiology at Stanford. Sleep patterns, hormonal fluctuations, and even neurotransmitter levels shift with lunar cycles, whether people are aware of it or not. These biological responses aren't superstition, they're measurable physiological reactions that evolved over millions of years of human existence. When we force our bodies to ignore these natural rhythms, we create internal conflict that manifests as various health issues. Sleep disorders have reached epidemic proportions in industrialized societies. Research suggests that artificial lighting and irregular schedules that ignore natural lunar influence contribute significantly to this crisis. Hormonal imbalances occur more frequently when women's natural cycles are disconnected from lunar phases. Some studies suggest that women who track lunar cycles experience more regular menstruation and fewer symptoms than those who rely solely on the Gregorian calendar. Seasonal affective disorder and depression rates spike in societies that maintain rigid schedules regardless of seasonal light changes, a problem exacerbated by our disconnection from natural time. The 13-month calendar offers a way to reconnect with natural rhythms in today's fast-paced world. While we still use the Gregorian system, simply becoming aware of the moon's phases can revive our ancient connection to time. Many cultures, from Jewish traditions to indigenous and agricultural systems, honor lunar cycles, aligning their lives with nature. For some, syncing spiritual practices with natural moments like dawn or the full moon brings deeper meaning. We don't need to reject modern timekeeping. Just remember that real time flows with the cosmos, not the clock. As Harrington completed his research, he realized this wasn't just about history. It was a choice we all face today. Continue living by artificial time or return to the rhythms of nature. The 13-month biblical calendar is more than a dating system. It invites a deeper connection with time, one that flows with the moon, the seasons, and the earth itself. This isn't about numbers, Harrington says. It's about whether we live by nature's rhythms or society's constructs. Though modern calendars stray, nature remains faithful. The moon waxes and wanes, the seasons shift, and something within us still remembers. We don't have to reject modern life, but we can choose to live with greater awareness, honoring both the clock and the cosmos. The most powerful step forward may be remembering what we were taught to ignore.